everyone. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to go on to step 2 and focus on continuing to clear out things that we say every single day that are keeping us small and scared and stuck. Our very own vocabulary is keeping us in the same exact place we have always been. But let me know down below how step 1 has been going for you. Have you been able to clear some physical stuff out, get rid of some mental thoughts that are no longer working for you? And if it's been harder to do the second, today we're going to talk about 3 lessons that we can take into this next week, into the rest of the year, into the rest of our life, to really cement what it is that we want from this world and what we don't. So what we're going to first talk about is this idea of qualifiers. When we speak, many of us are using qualifiers. And what qualifiers are is saying things like, I think, I guess, never, always, no one, just, impossible. Now, that might seem like a random list, but if you were to pay attention to your friends talking, your coworkers, or you talking to other people, those words suddenly creep up a lot more. No one's able to figure this out. We're always just sitting here waiting for her to show up. It's just another day where nothing's gonna happen. These qualifiers are actually time qualifiers. They are defining what is possible within time. Saying that something is never going to happen is giving it a specific amount of time to allow this thing to happen. When you say this is always true, you are saying that no matter what is happening, this is the fact. So when you're arguing with someone or you're upset with someone and you say things like, you're always late and I have no faith in you showing up on time because you're never there when you're supposed to be, you are defining at a very significant level things that should not be defined that way, because it is going to make you seem very small. It's going to constrict you to this very little arena of where things are possible. Because if you're saying you can't do this, or this is not possible, or this is never gonna happen, you are saying that what is actually able to be exists in a very small quadrant of your life. And so when you start saying these things, figure out how you feel. When you're talking to somebody and you're really annoyed and you're upset and you start using these words, is it making the problem better or worse? When you tell your friend that she's always late and never listens to you when you need her to, how well does that conversation go? How easily are people willing to hear out whatever it is you say? Because once you define something, it means that there's no more wiggle room. There's no more ability to further it, to explain it, or to make it better. Because you said, well, I'm always late, so why am I even going to bother to show up on time? Now, these are qualifiers that you're throwing onto other people, but also throwing onto yourself. If you say, I could never learn ballet at 25, or I could never learn how to do my makeup or curl my hair, you are telling yourself that you cannot do this, and what you say to yourself does matter. And when you use these qualifiers in your speech, it makes you look weak. It makes you look smaller than you need to be, because you are handing your power to everyone else. You're handing your power off to ballet or to makeup or to walking, because they have more, that thing has more power than you do to take control of it or to do it or to make it happen. So you're handing your power every time you say these things. And when you're saying things like just or I think, you're saying that you're not really sure about what it is that you're talking about. When you say, oh, I'm just reaching out about this, you're not allowing the conversation to grow into what it needs to be. You're saying that what it is that you do need to talk about isn't that significant to begin with. Therefore, that person's going to think that this is a waste of their time or it's beneath them, because you are already placing it at that value. Because where you place value on something is where other people are going to see it. If you think that your time is valuable and it's worthy of other people to look at or to create something based off of what you've done, then treat those things with that value so other people can understand what it is that you're trying to do. When you start saying things like, I think, or I guess, or maybe, it's usually to soften that blow on the other person's feelings as well. When you're saying, I think we should go to the mall instead of to Applebee's, you are reducing your opinion to a lower state because you're saying, I think. We know you think that because it came from you. You don't have to qualify it with this phrase, because if you have to speak your thoughts out loud to get them validated, then that means that you aren't capable to process them on your own and to come up with a conclusion. So therefore, other people are going to be like, why doesn't she say, I want to go to the mall? Not because you are worse off for not going to the mall, or because you think you're better than that person for wanting to go to Applebee's. You just want to go to the mall. So just say it. See? Even that. Just say it. It sounds like a lower level of value from that word. So say what you mean and say it with confidence. And if you say something that other people don't like, that's okay. It's okay if other people don't want to do the things that you want to do, but you need to tell them what it is that you want to do so that you can have a conversation about it. Hey, well, let's go to the mall so we can go check out this shop, and then after we can go grab dinner at that restaurant. You can do all of these things in one day, but if you are constantly degrading the value of your words, other people are going to notice it and take advantage of it. Because the person in the friend group that's like, I can't think of anything but going to the mall. I want to go to this event. The other people who are like, but I think we should go to Dunkin' Donuts first, they're going to be like, okay. You're offering this opinion, this thought, this belief, this decision as an unsure stance. You have to become certain of the things that you're saying and the reasons behind it so that other people believe you. And if you aren't confident that you do want to go to Dunkin' Donuts, say it with confidence anyway. This is all a practice to become the version of yourself that you want to be. Say it with confidence. And if it sounds stupid to other people, it doesn't matter. You are confident saying it. So if you remove these small words, never, always, no one, I think, maybe, just, I guess is a big one. I guess we could go. I guess we could go means I don't want to go, but you want to go, and that's why we're going to go. Just say, oh, see, you catch yourself all the time when you start thinking about it. So write out these words on a piece of paper and see where it comes up. Because the more you look at it, the more you think about it, the more you'll realize where these patterns are coming up. Is there a specific person that says any of these words more than others? Is there a friend that you have that does not say any of these words? How do their personalities differ? Are their goals different? How are they living their lives differently? Is the person who uses these qualifiers all the time actually a weaker person, or are they doing this to gain the favor of other people? What is the reasoning behind it? So look at your own words and how you're saying them, but how are other people using them and where are they saying them? Now, the other thing that comes with words is the idea of I can't, I'm not able to, I won't, it's not possible. The word not is constantly limiting your ability, and that's really what lesson 2 is all about, is can we remove the word not? Because every time we say not, for the most part, it's usually in relation to our abilities. I can't go on a hike. I can't make that because I have all these other obligations. I can't go to that event because of this other thing that I'm supposed to. I don't know how to run, therefore I really can't run. Or all of these words are also qualified by this word not. Not comes up so much in our daily life. through everything that we pretty much do. Not is almost a way into this club of being accepted by other people. Because when you talk to other people and you say, oh, I can't run either. I can't get up at 6 a.m. and go to that Soul Cycle class. That's not for me. You are, again, enclosing your position and to a box. You are saying that I can't do this. I can't run. I can't swim. I can't do makeup. I can't do my hair. I can't. I won't. I don't want to. I'm not able to. I'm not this, that, and the other thing. It defines who you are and it keeps you in the same place. Because if you approach tennis with this idea of like, I can't play tennis, I can't hit this ball correctly, the first time I swing the I don't know anything about tennis. I don't know why I picked tennis. Every time I swing the paddle, the racket, that's what it's called. Every time I swing the racket, I miss it. I miss hitting the ball. I can't ever figure that out. Not with that attitude. Have you ever heard that? If you say you can't do something, then you can't do it. And that really goes with everything that we do. If you say that you can't get something done, you won't, because you're not going to put in the effort that needs to happen. And see how every other way to explain that decision uses the word not as well? You're not going to, because you decided you can't, right? So the second we say something, it becomes our reality because we're telling ourselves that. We're telling ourselves, I can't figure out how to hit a racket. Why? Why are you saying it to yourself? Has anybody ever gone from not playing tennis to being an expert in it? Or did people come out of the womb swinging the racket and being perfect at it? Or did every single person on this planet who ever achieved anything had to learn how to do that thing in the first place? Warren Buffett is the greatest investor in the world. He started at 10, which is pretty young, but somebody had to allude to investing, show him explicitly what investing was. He heard it from other people. He didn't inherently at 3 hours old know what investing is and, started it off strong. If he started investing at 3 days old, this might be a different conversation, but he was 10 years old. So he had experience before he was able to make a decision, and now at 94, he's still learning about investing. He teaches a lot of people about investing, but it is up to him to continue to learn and to get better at it. And that is why there's always, always, I just said it. Why, when you are in a profession where there is continuing education credits, I know engineers go through that, doctors have to go through that, various professions have continuing education. Because you don't become an expert after 4 years of experience in college or whatever profession you're in, and whatever experience you had to do to get it. You have to continue to work on it in order to be good at it. So you're gonna have to put in the work to create this reality. You're not going to be able to run a marathon if you've never run a mile before, but that doesn't mean that you can't run a mile and that you can't run a marathon. You can train and you can do the workouts and you can go and do all of this stuff to get you there. You can have a goal and you can create all of these little goals to lead you up to that big goal, but it's not impossible. People learn to paint later on in life because they put in the effort to do it. You have to put in the reps to be able to get to the thing that you want. But if you tell yourself that you can't do it, or you won't be able to, or this doesn't matter, you don't matter, then that is going to be your reality. So if there is something that you want to do and the first 10 times you do it, you didn't figure it out, that's all right. You can keep going. If you had given up learning how to walk after the 20th time you fell, guess what? You wouldn't be able to walk around today. And that's the thing. You have to keep doing it until you're good at it. And the only one that's telling you that you can't is you because you won't put in the effort. So put in the effort. It doesn't have to get you from never having run a mile to running the best time in the world in a span of a year, and you may never get to running the best world in the time, but you don't know that until you put in the work, until you decide one day, you know what, this just isn't for me. And that could be because you tried running and you don't actually like having to be moving for that long of amount of time. You do enjoy running, but only for half an hour, and then you want to go do a workout where you're dancing. Try it out. Figure it out. See what it is that works for you, but you won't know that until you put in the effort to figure it out for yourself. So go and try things. So this week, see where this word is coming up. What are you telling yourself that you can't do? You can't figure out how to create a new habit. You can't find the time in a day to spend 10 minutes writing. What are you telling yourself you can't do? And how can you switch into this mindset of, you know what, I can do this? And for me personally, I think where I constantly say I can't is when it comes to working out. I can't get up early enough to fit in reading and working out, taking a shower, going for a walk, and then starting my work. I can't do that. I'm going to be tired. Well, it's actually okay if you're tired, and that's just something, and that is something that I'm going to have to tell myself. And the first way to start that is I've been getting up before my alarm pretty consistently these past few weeks, so I'm going to set my alarm a little bit earlier, but I won't get rid of that first alarm. I'm going to create a new alarm that's going to maybe ring half an hour before that, and then see what I can do in that extra half hour. Because I'll get up and lay in bed. I almost said just there, but I stopped myself. And I'll lay in bed and think about things, and the thoughts aren't super productive. It's not like I'm thinking about even the day ahead, but kind of like what conversations I had the day before, how I felt, not like the things in front of my day, who I want to be, where I want to go, how I want to spend the rest of my year. So if I get up half an hour early and start writing or reading a book, it shifts my mindset. And every time I do get up and I read early, it makes me feel like the day is going to go a lot better. So maybe that's something that you want to try out as well. Now, the third lesson, the third thing that a lot of us do all the time is complain. We're either listening to someone complain or we are complaining ourselves. This meeting was so annoying and wasted so much time. I hate this thing. I hate this person. That was really annoying. Why did that person say it that way? Stuff like that is constantly said all the time. And we are around people who will say it. And a lot of the times, one person starts complaining, and the other person starts complaining, and then the third person walks by, and then they start complaining too. And now we're in this constant spiral talking about negative things that are not productive for any of us. So instead of doing that, every time somebody is complaining, what if you just didn't say anything? What if you didn't throw the ball back and give them something to complain about? What if you just listened? And then you changed the subject, said a joke, talked about something else, moved on, or simply said nothing. What if you decided that you were going to opt out of this frame of mind? Because every single time we do think about complaining, we are shifting our mindset from the ability to grow into the ability to break down and to be destructive and to fall in on ourselves. And the more we do that, the more we get stuck, and the less ability we have after the conversation is over to think about positive things. If you want to change your habits to being better, to being more productive, and you're around people who are constantly complaining about their weight or how much money they don't have, or all of the people that they work with are awful and their partner is mean and annoying and isn't even attractive. Like, how can you embody this new version of yourself if you're around people who are constantly diminishing, destroying your mood, devastating themselves and the people around them through their words? How much fun is that to be around all the time? And a lot of us get into these spirals, and we get into these breaking down of behaviors constantly because we are seeing ourselves as a counterpart to that, because there are plenty of things for us to complain about. We don't have as much money as we want. All these things are true. The things that people complain about are usually true, but it's not helpful. There's very rarely, and I don't believe it's ever happened, that I've complained about something and it actually fixed the problem, that I was actually better off on the other side for it. Maybe there was a feeling of relief for a few minutes because I got it off my chest and I talked something out, but that's usually the extent of enjoying or getting anything out of complaining. Very few times are you like, I really enjoyed complaining and being mad the entire time. If we're not breaking it up with jokes and laughing and being excited about something and switching the topic out of it, it's not a fun conversation. So try this week to cut off these conversations as much as possible. And if you don't know how to change the topic of a conversation, pick out one word or one thing that person talked about and ask them to elaborate it that they seem to have liked. If somebody was like, well, this entire weekend I had to spend cleaning the house and taking care of the dog because nobody washed him for weeks, and he chewed up the furniture, and then the kids had to go to a birthday party, and then I got to go to the mall and get a latte before I had to go. Okay, there was one thing in that entire phrasing that they said that was slightly positive. They're like, what latte did you get at Starbucks? Did you try the new one from Wicked? There's actually 2 new ones from Wicked, and one of them is called Glenda's Pink Potion. Have you tried it? See if you can redirect the conversation. Find the one good thing, one positive thing, and even if they say nothing positive, ask them a question about something to make it positive. If they talk about their dog, what kind of dog is it? How old's the dog? What color is the dog? I don't know. Like, pick something, steer the conversation off of it, and then be like, you know what? That's amazing. I'm gonna go and try that. If you're talking about this latte, be like, wow, you tried it? Was it good? I'm gonna have to go and try it. You know what? I have to go run to a meeting, but it was great to catch up with you, and then leave. Try to steer the conversation. If the person is trying to pull you back, they're like, yeah, I tried the new Wicked Glenda's drink, but the barista just took so long to make it, and then it didn't even taste right because I tried it before and that one was really bad. If they're just complaining and you've given them an out to stop doing that and they didn't catch on, get out of the conversation. Try to steer out of it and be like, oh my god, I hate when that happens at Starbucks. Actually, I have to run to a meeting, but it was so nice to catch up with you, and leave. You don't have to tell people the truth that they were annoying you and you're gonna leave because you don't want to be there. The truth very rarely is actually going to help you in most social situations to get out of them or to get into them. As in, like, there's a group of people and you're like, oh my god, I loved that movie too. Have you heard of this one? You don't have to actually know what movie that person was talking about. You can just shift the conversation into something else and to step into it. You have to realize that people really don't care as much as you're giving them credit for. They're not thinking that deeply about anything that they're saying as much as you may be thinking they are. And that's the point of all of this, is to realize what it is that we're thinking about and where we're handing off our power. Are we handing our power to the person in line who is rude to us because they thought you cut them? Or that snarky customer service representative who clearly hates their job and the whole world around them? You don't have to give these people your power anymore. You don't have to be super sweet or super nice or anything, but you can get out of these social situations. And once you're done with them, stop giving them power over your life. Once you put that conversation down, put it down and move on. Don't do any more for it. So if somebody complains about something, you don't have to say anything. And then once you leave that conversation, you don't have to bring it up with another person. You don't have to talk to the next person you see and be like, oh, they literally just complained at me for 30 minutes. Just move on. Right? Just move on. It's as simple as deciding that it's not going to bother you. And how are you going to fill up all this time that you won't have, that you will now have not thinking about all these other people? Well, you can go through your house again and see if there is something else you want to clean out, or you can go on to step 3, which we will talk about very soon, but hopefully some of these lessons you can bring into this following week and weeks coming ahead. Look at the words that you're saying and how they are defining you to other people and to yourself. You're able to do all of the things that you want. You have to put in the time and catch yourself when these words come up, see where they are coming up, who's saying them, and see if you can transition, switch, pivot into different words and therefore a different version of yourself. I hope you have an amazing week and we will talk very soon.